Today, we celebrate 200 years of history, a history that has shaped the Columbus Division of Police as we know it, that exemplifies professionalism, respect, integrity, discipline, and enthusiasm. Those core values, as well as attention to detail and sense of urgency, make CPD a leader in the nation and a department other agencies look to as an example. On this, our bicentennial year, as we look to the future of our organization, we must also remember and recognize our past. In May 1816, Mr. Samuel King was elected as the village marshal, the police authority in the borough of Columbus. As marshal, Mr. King was under direct authority of the mayor and received a salary of $80 a year. In 1834, the Ohio General Assembly passed an act to incorporate the city of Columbus, and a city marshal then served as the police authority. In 1849, the first watch was organized. Men were appointed by city council to enforce ordinances and laws of the state and were under the direction of the city marshal. They reported for a roll call 1 hour after sundown and remained on duty until sunrise. A new brick station house was constructed in 1855 at Lizelle and Walnut Streets, with 11 prisoner cells in the basement and rooms for the watchmen to assemble. In 1868, a police force was organized consisting of 25 men under the leadership of the city marshal. The first effort was also made to create a uniform for the force, as previously they wore a homespun suit and had only been identified by wearing a badge. In 1878, the city was comprised of 10 square miles and divided into 2 precincts, north and south. The police force consisted of 35 men divided into day and night patrol. A central station was erected in 1879 on Town Street on the bank of the Scioto River. It contained cells that housed both male and female prisoners, as well as offices for the superintendent, inspector of police, and detectives. In 1880, the population of Columbus was 42,194 people. In 1895, Nelson Tate made history as the first African-American officer in the history of the division. In the early 1900s, official police records began to be kept. Horse-drawn patrol wagons were replaced with cars, and the police department had to contend with a streetcar strike and a natural catastrophe known as the Great Flood. Dolly Fisher was appointed the first policewoman in 1921. She served on the Purity Squad, raiding establishments in search of bootleggers. In 1930, the police department moved into their new headquarters at Gay Street and Marconi Boulevard, as the station at Town and Scioto had been destroyed in a fire. That remained home of CPD for 61 years. During the 20th century, call boxes would be replaced with two-way radios. Police ambulances made way for prisoner transport vehicles. A formalized training academy was established, and the population of the city and division personnel would grow in both number and diversity.
I joined September the 25th, 1961. My father was a 22-year veteran at the time, police sergeant, and I always loved what he did growing up in kind of a police family. We didn't have as many weapons on the street, i.e. guns. Citizens used to be in fist fights every once in a while, a knife, where nowadays there's more weapons on the street, more guns, more narcotics, more everything. When I first came on back in 1961, I didn't have any communications equipment. I had to pull over my motorcycle and call in on what we called a call box. I pulled a mark, and that was checking with the telephone operator to see if they had any runs for me to go on 20 minutes after the hour. There was police officer, and they were all men, and we had police women. The police women went through the police academy. They didn't take all of the courses, such things as boxing and self-defense. Their uniforms was skirts, low heel, black shoes. Their guns they had to carry in a shoulder purse, rather large purse, and they had different style hat. Police women were not eligible for any promotion. They were stuck in the job, whatever it was, until they retired. We had our first female police woman become an officer. She came back to the academy, and that was Mary Lester.
I'm James G. Jackson. I joined the Columbus Division of Police in March of 1958. I served for 51 years. Spent 13 years as a deputy chief and 19 years as chief of police. I liked the job, and I still had a great deal of respect for policemen, and therefore I had respect for myself. So many things happened to me in 51 years. It's hard for me to say that one of them was far more important than the other. I think probably the best thing I did was to get females and blacks opportunities within the Division of Police.
My academy class, I believe, had the largest group of female recruits ever and since. There were 18 women in my academy class that started in 1979. During that time, we'd sit around at lunchtime or whatever it was and talk about the potential, the possibilities of females being promoted. At that time, there were no female supervisors and never had been. And so, I mean, our biggest goal right then was like, is somebody among us going to be the first female sergeant?
And I'm proud of all of our officers, all of our men and women out there protecting our residents, And I do believe we have the best division of police in the entire country. Ladies and gentlemen, the new chief of police for the city of Columbus, Kim Jacobs.
I think it's really important to be a role model and accept the fact that I'm different. The first female chief is a difference maker. I don't want to be the first female police chief and the only one. I want to be the first of many. I want it to always be a consideration that a female growing up in this organization, coming up through the ranks, can be chief. I think it's important that people realize that women and anybody can do whatever job they set their mind to.
I've had experience with little girls that always come up to me and say, oh, I've never seen a female officer, and I think that's always pretty cool because you're giving that inspiration, motivation.
I just think that it's always important to look back to see where we came from, to make sure we're going in the right direction.
I think our division is the best division in the country. I really foresee just a very, progressive and positive future for our division.
Today, in the year 2016, the Columbus Division of Police looks very different from the police authority 200 years ago, with the one-man borough marshal or the night watchman. The division currently has 1,859 active sworn personnel and over 370 civilian support staff employees. Our employees report to a number of workstations around the city, including patrol substations, central headquarters, and our state-of-the-art training academy and forensic services center. 11% of our sworn personnel are female, and our officers are of varying ethnic backgrounds, age, and experience levels. Our officers utilize prisoner transport vehicles, SUVs, helicopters, boats, bicycles, and motorcycles. We have several specialized units, including the K-9 unit, a mounted unit, SWAT, and dive team. To remain closely involved with the residents of Columbus, we rely on our public information unit, community response teams, walkie crews on bicycles, and community liaison officers. On this important anniversary, we recognize that the foundation of today's Columbus Division of Police rests on the backs of Samuel King and the men who patrolled our city in the infancy of policing. Today, the characteristics of division personnel and the way the daily job is done are markedly different, and the technology used to accomplish our goals has increased exponentially.
To me, joining the Columbus Division of Police and seeing the history that we have of being top-notch, actually living core values, even before we had them written down the way that we do now with professionalism, respect, integrity, discipline, enthusiasm. The way this division of police has operated historically, to me, is one that we all can take great pride in. It's got a great reputation. All of us are continuing to just pass the torch and being a model for the way that policing should be throughout our country. So it is a great honor to be part of a tradition of policing in Columbus that is excellent and excels with regard to how other police agencies, still strive to be. We've been getting it right for a very long time, and I think that we can all be very proud of that.